It's the old salt miner here. Every time I go to Harbor Freight, I get a free light. Take a coupon, I'm going to buy something like this glue, and I get a free light with it. Well, I got a lot of these. And they're actually pretty good lights. I mean, I think they're pretty good lights. And, but I've got so many of them, I thought, well, maybe I ought to see if I can do something different with these. And what I'd like to make is a base and some kind of flexible doohickey to be able to direct these lights, like down like that, and it just set there like that. Or the other idea was like that, or maybe even do two of them so they're like this, right? Let's turn these on. There you go. Boy, that's a lot of light in one little spot, and I'll be able to see, and I can put it on the mill or whatever I want to put it on, right? So I thought, how can I do that? Well, I got a bunch of scrap copper wire, because, if you've been watching my videos, I don't throw nothing away. So this is my scrap copper wire, and I took some copper wire and I bent it together. I thought, well, I can make a flexible thing. See, I can flex that like that. And if I can figure out a way to attach one of these lights to it, well, I can make a really neat light. And then I thought, well, what can I mount? How can I mount it? Well, I've got a piece of aluminum round stock that I picked up at a salvage yard. And also got a little bitty base like this. This is actually very light. And it came off of something else. And I think I can make up a light. Anyway, I'm going to try. Okay, so I think I'll start with this as a base first. And it's got kind of a little ledge in here. And I've got this flat magnet. It's a good magnet, and I want it to fit in here, but it doesn't want to quite fit. So, I think what I'll do next is I'll chuck this up in my lathe, and I'll show you a picture of that. And I'll open that up just a little bit so this magnet will fit in there, and I'll glue it in. Okay, it fits. Great. Got this cable, and I'm going to fit it in here, like such. And I'm going to cut this insulation off and broom this out a little bit. And then I'll glue and put some of these BBs. There's the BBs, lead BBs, and epoxy glue in there. Mix together, and that will hold that down. I will put the magnet on the top, and we will have the base for the light. If I don't cut myself doing this, I'd say it'd be the first time, but I'd be lying. Cut myself many times. I suppose that's something you can say when you're old. I can see I'm going to be doing some editing on this. There it goes. Tough stuff. This is much harder than it looks. Yeah, it's really not hard at all. Not as many wires in there as I thought there'd be. Copper wire flying everywhere. Of course, I didn't quite cut it enough, and I want it to go that way a little bit, so I'll cut a little more off this side. Getting closer. Couple more. There we got it. Pretty close anyway. I think that'll count for good for now. Okay, so I've got the whole apparatus stuck in the vise. That wire is stiff enough it kind of holds it up there. And what I've done, you can see this black wire here. That is another one of those wall warts. If you've been watching my videos, I use these for everything. Here it is. And it is, there it is. It is going to power the light. Okay? And since I'm going to fill this with lead BBs and epoxy, I wanted to make sure I got it level, so I leveled it in 2 directions. Close enough. So, alright, onward with epoxy and lead BBs. Lead BBs. I like to use popsicle sticks and paper plates to mix up my epoxy. Always seems to work the best for me anyway. Alright, that's it. Let that harden and see what we end up with. Okay, well, the epoxy's set up, and there you can see the bottom. Magnets in there just fine. The weight lets it set fairly well by itself. Now I got to determine how tall I want this to be. I don't think I want it to be overly tall. I mean, I could put the clear up here, but that's kind of ridiculous, and I don't think I'll need that. I'm thinking more in here. That way I can bend it and shape it any way I want, get the light where I need it to be. So what I'm going to do is cut the wire off and then strip the end off. Then hopefully I will solder one of these key hose clamps to the top, and the light will fit in there like that. And I can tighten it down. Then if I need to replace it or something, there it is. I think it's a good solution. Well, remember how I told you I couldn't weld? Well, apparently I can't solder worth a darn either. But I did manage to get it soldered on there fairly well. It's the ugliest solder job I think I've ever seen. But it's there. So onward to the next thing, which is drilling a hole in here. And then soldering the wires to this. Okay, well, the first thing I need to do is grind a little flat spot in here. And going to grind it right on the Harbor Freight name. And that'll give me a place to drill. All right, here we go. Okay, next step in the drill press. See if I got that where I want it. Right there. That step's done. A little deburring here. All right. Run the wire through. And let's see how bad I can solder again. Okay, back to soldering. So I have to solder one. So you can see in there, I got to solder one in there because that wraps around. And then one end to there. Now, I'm not 100% sure which is positive, which is negative on this. I'm going to guess the one with the writing is positive, which would be this end. Yeah. Sometimes you just don't have enough hands. There we got her. Okay, so all I have to do now, I got this soldered on, is stick this end in. Stick this on. And then plug in the end here. And we have light. Ha ha. And I have a light that I can stick, mount however I want to mount it. Turns off right there. I can adjust this light however I want. There she is. I can bend it up a little higher, a little lower, whatever I want. So that's my light. I think it's pretty cool. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. Give her a try. It was fun to make. Please like, subscribe, and comment. The Old Salt Miner.